So 2.7 notes, hold them up, put the phone away or hand it to me. Yes. Okay, go get them, please. That's fine. I'm just looking for spot checking them. Alright, y'all can put them down except for the people I haven't seen yet. It's like, I don't even know who it came from. Do you not have them, but did you do them? But I meant you, like, watched the video, right? Okay. Okay. So, what was the form for a absolute value function? Yes. What was the one with the transformations? Okay. And what does the A do? Okay. How about the H? Yep. H shifts the opposite direction of the sign, right or left. And then K? Yep. Up and down direction of the sign. If A is greater than 0, or sorry, greater than 1, what's happening? Less than 1? Compressed. Yep. And if there's a negative sign in front of the A? Yep. So that's all you're going to be telling me for these problems is basically what happens. And then if you're given a graph, you're going to be writing the equation. So we'll do several of these to make sure we understand what's going on. Somebody shut the door. You shut the door. Thanks. All right, number 4, y is equal to the absolute value of x plus 2. All right, so I want to know what is happening to that. So I look at this plus 2. Okay, so that's representing h, so what would be happening with this? Left 2, okay? Okay, so if it's inside the absolute value, it goes opposite of the sign. If it's outside, it goes the same direction. Okay, so this one is plus 2, meaning I'm going left, and I'm going 2. Okay? Yep, that's all you have to do. It says to graph the function, compare it. Don't do that. Just tell me what's happening. That's all I want you to be able to do. I was like 6 feet. Yeah. Yep. All right. F of x is equal to the absolute value of x minus 1 plus 4. Also, I'm going to let you know you will not be able to check these answers in the back because they do not do it like this. We're modifying the instructions. Shifts right 1. Yep. And then up 4. Okay, so outside it goes in the direction of the sign, either up or down. Inside it's opposite, right or left. Alright, eight f of x is equal to negative 3 times the absolute value of x. Okay, so we say reflected, and what else? It's stretched. Okay, it's greater, 3 is greater than 1, so it's stretched. Okay, so for this one, all you have to tell me is reflected and stretched. Hold on, let me focus this back in because it's getting blurry. It was like the very, very last thing that I wrote down in the notes. A is greater than 1, so 3 is greater than 1. So that's why it's causing it to stretch. Okay, so basically if it's a fraction, then it's being compressed. Okay, because negative numbers, remember that A, we're talking about the absolute value of A. Okay, when we're looking at if it's stretched or compressed. Huh? Okay. Alright. I'm going to go with one about as hard as we can get. 12 f of x equals negative 4 times the absolute value of x plus 2 minus 3. Alright, think about, okay, do on your paper what you think is supposed to be done, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so list all the steps that are supposed to be happening here. In your head or on paper, please. Okay, you should have 4 things written down when you're done. For the next thing of problems, you're going to need your book open. Okay. Alright. So, what is the first thing happening here, Joel? Stretched and reflected, Taylor? Left 2, down 3. Yes. But it's the absolute value of that. Basically, the only way that it's being compressed, yeah, is for it to be a fraction. I'm looking at the absolute value of negative 4. You're looking at this value. This whole thing is A. Negative 4 by itself, yes, is less than 1. However, the absolute value of negative 4 is equal to 4, which is greater than 1. So it's being stretched. I don't know why they would give it to you that way, but if it's greater than 1, then yes. If you had 3 over 2, then it would be stretched. Do we want to do one more like this before we switch to the other way? Okay, we'll do 14, and then we're switching to the kind where we're looking at a graph and doing it. Huh? Yeah. Alright, so again, try this one. f of x is equal to 1/4 the absolute value of x minus 4 plus 3. Three. No, yeah, that was a good question. Alright, what's the first thing? It's compressed. What else? Right, 4 up 3. No, it doesn't matter. I just let y'all throw it out. I pretty much always write my shifting first and then everything else, but if you wanted to go left to right, then it would be reflected if it is, stretched or compressed, right or left shift, and then up or down shift. But I don't care how y'all do it, as long as you have all the pieces. Alright, so now you need to look at your book. Alright, so we have graphs. Yeah. Well, it's definitely not y equals mx plus b because this is an absolute value. But you can do y equals or f of x equals. I don't care. Alright, let's look at 16. Okay, so we're looking at the graph. So just as a refresher, okay, a general absolute value function is a v centered at the origin. Okay? And it goes basically up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and then it also does the same thing going up 1, back 1, up 1, back 1, okay, with a negative slope and a positive slope. It's essentially two separate lines that make that v. Okay, so we're looking at what's happening, and basically you take the slope of the line to determine if it's being stretched or compressed, more or less. But for this one, the first thing we want to look at is basically we want to talk about what's happening to our graph. So it should have been centered at 0, 0. What? Yeah. So I want to know basically where that vertex is. So my normal function is y equals the absolute value of x. So I want to talk about what's happening to it here basically in regards to that. So you said it's at 4, 3, right? Okay. So if I'm shifting right 4, what changes in this equation? So the absolute value of x minus 4, okay, and then it's going up 3, so plus 3, and that's all. Yes. No, you don't have to copy the graph over. Okay. Now we should check the slope here and make sure, okay, make sure that it's going up 1 over 1 to ensure that it's not being stretched or compressed. Okay. How about, and obviously if it's got a negative in front of it, it flips it upside down, so the v becomes from like this rather than like this. The slope. So, 18. Wait and let me do this one first because this one's a little different. Okay, so this one is upside down. Okay, so you always start with your y equals the absolute value of x. Okay, if it's upside down, what does that mean is happening? So negative absolute value of x. And then what happened to it? What happened to the whole graph other than that? It went up to, okay, so where do I write that? A +2 out here, and that one's done. Okay, but you need to check, again, we should check the slope, okay, making sure that the slope is still 1, 1, or negative 1, 1 in this case. Or, yeah. So is that slope still the same? What are you confused about? Because 1 is just understood. I don't need to write it. It goes 1 down and 1 to the right. 1 down, 1 to the right. Alright, number 20, I'm going to let you guys try by yourself. Okay, this one I'm going to tell you it does have something happening for it either being stretched or compressed. So you will have to write the slope for this one. Yeah. Huh? The vertex. The bottom of the V. The other point is helping you to look at the slope. And just a reminder, slope is rise over run. Alright, does everybody have something? Alright, what did we get? Because it shifted to the right 5 spots. I, a lot of times, do write them in separate steps just so I can keep up with it. Absolute value ones is not as critical, but like parabolas and stuff, when we get to that part, it kind of does matter. But, yeah, that's fine. For the slope. Because it goes up 2 over 1. Or no, it's stretched. It's greater than 1. Like what part? It kind of just takes looking at it to get used to it. No. What? Because this had a slope of 1. Okay, if we want to look at another one, go to 30. Okay, ignore the instructions. what should be written there? Yep. The slope is 1. Yeah, y equals the absolute value of x plus 3 is what should have been written for that one. Okay, because it went up 3, so that number should be outside. Let's look at 31. This will be the last one. Which equation has the graph shown? Okay, so try to write the equation and then check and see what letter it is. Do we have an answer? What did we get? D. Does everybody agree? So you're looking at the slope of just one of the lines. So in this case, the slope went down 3 and then over 2. If you're a visual person, the graphs are easier usually. Alright, so your problems. So just keep in mind, these do have modified instructions. Okay, so do them like we did the examples. Okay, now this might be like more problems than normal, but they should be really fast, so that's why.